But Nigeria, young or old, the votes usually doesn't count. And as such, there's no leverage that the retired person has to hold the government to account. No leverage. The only time you can hold the government to account is when you are still active in service. So you are still active playing football for Nigeria. That is when you can hold the government to account. That's when you can hold the NFF to account. That's when you can tell them, you don't pay me allowances, I'm not going to play. Because that is the only time you see them running around trying to make sure that these payments are made. Otherwise, they will just say, be patriotic. People, NFF officials, you have situations whereby Nigeria will qualify for a tournament for not just football, for athletics and all that, and you have more officials going to that tournament than the athletes, than the players. Because the officials want to benefit from the money they will get, such that they form more of the contingents that go to that tournament. So that is why I say that I support when the Eagles strike. They strike at a strategic time. They were World Cup playoff against Congo. They still have some days and they wanted to make a statement. And they did. And there were movements towards paying them. And in this tournament now, the same thing has happened. Where it's not only the players, even the coaches are not guaranteed their pay. And the players have to agitate. To the point that the captain, Wilfred Ndidi, has to now say that he will pay. So the NFF, the Sports Commission, those who are in charge should be held to account. Whatever lapses, whatever happens, they too bear responsibility for it. Go and check the retirement benefits if you are a former governor. If you check, you see that if you are a former president, you have some retirement and pension benefits. Former governors, former senators and all that, there are some benefits that go to them. People that will serve for 4 years, maximum 8 years. And then there are some benefits that go to them after they leave office. But we know that the Eagles doesn't have that. Yes, I also checked other countries too. Across the world, countries don't really have specific packages for retired international players. The packages they have are those who play professional football, play in clubs. So there are arrangements to some benefits that go to retired players and all that. But countries around the world don't have a specific retirement package for players who have played and represented the country, right? So one wouldn't expect Nigeria to manufacture that. Other countries are not doing it. But in a country where you see the former governor of Lagos State, check the retirement benefits they get. Somebody who ruled for 4 years or 8 years as the case may be, check the retirement benefits. Check the welfare package you receive for life. Then for an Eagles player who is not entitled to any pension, who is not entitled to any gratuity, who is not entitled to any health coverage after he has retired as a Super Eagles player, none of that. You can play for 10 years for Nigeria. The day you stop playing for Nigeria, that's it. You can play for 20 years. The day you stop playing, that's it. There's nothing comes after that. Some of them are playing international clubs. So you could have situations whereby they say that, you are receiving dollars in international competition, you didn't save well, you didn't plan well, and all of that, all those kind of things. The funny thing is that many of these Nigerian politicians have investments. Some of them have businesses They have good income. Some of them don't really need the pay that they get from the government. But yet, there's retirement plan for them. Yet, there's retirement pension package and benefits for them. Regardless of whether they could afford or to take care of themselves. There are plans for that, for politicians, for our leaders. We don't ask them, oh, just do patriotism. They are patriotic and yet they receive salary. They are patriotic, they receive allowances. They are patriotic, they go outside the country, they are paid extra codes in dollars. And they get all sorts of benefits. And when they leave office, the benefits continue. Then you will not say, oh, you don't ask the leaders to be accountable. You don't ask the NFF officials to be accountable. You say the egos are the ones to be patriotic. Just bottle up whatever grievance you have. Bottle it up. You are wearing the Nigerian JC. That is enough for you. You are uniting Nigeria. Even if it was 12 seconds after the final whistle, you have united Nigeria. Even when we have not seen any enduring benefit from that transient unity that comes after victory. I have not seen any lasting solution to any Nigerian problem from that. And I have not seen any fundamental development in the game that followed Nigeria's victory. Because the leaders and those heading these football agencies care more about themselves. Now, for the Nigeria, as I've said, Nigeria outperformed what we expected them to do. Nigeria outperformed. They performed beyond my expectations. We know what took place. Nigeria got to the final of the last AFCON, 2023 AFCON, that held January 13 to February 11, 2024 in Ivory Coast. Nigeria got to the final and lost to Ivory Coast. The coach we had was Jose Peseiro from Portugal. After that tournament, Peseiro's contract expired March 1st, 2024. Peseiro's contract expired March 1st, 2024. After 22 months in charge, and Peseiro left. Peseiro that took us to the final of AFCON was let go. After Peseiro left in March 2024, Austin Eguavoin was appointed. After Eguavoin, then we have Finidi George. April 29, 2024, he stayed for 47 days, resigned June 15, 2024, because of poor World Cup qualifiers. Then Austin Eguavoin was brought back, Then we have the announcement of Bruno Labbadia from Germany. He was announced head coach August 27, 2024, but declined the role 3 days later. And so we have Eric Chile from Mali. He was appointed coach of the Eagles January 7, 2025. So it's just about a year ago that Eric Chile was appointed, and he has done well. Since he took over, according to the records, he has not lost a game. They lost the qualifiers, they lost the World Cup qualifier, I think to penalty shootouts as well. I think they lost to Congo. The match they went on strike for, I think it was the one before they played Congo, if I'm not mistaken, And so Eric Chile has done well. 1 year in charge, he has done well, and he has shown that he's a capable coach. But will Nigeria keep him? Will the NFF keep Chile? We've heard that Chile was not paid for some months. I think maybe those payments have been made. Will he agree to stay, considering the way the payment comes? where the payment is not guaranteed, will he agree to stay? With the NFF, the Sports Commission presidency, see to it that Chile stays. We need to have a stable coach. We have countries where one coach will take them to World Cup, at another World Cup. Some people, their coaches that will coach some countries for years, and they will win World Cup and they will continue. So Nigeria has been having problem with coach, having a stable coach. So Nigeria had problem and they couldn't qualify for the World Cup. So the expectation, in my own view, I didn't expect Nigeria to do so well in the tournament. And yet Nigeria did well. They didn't lose in regular time. They lost to penalties. They lost in penalty shootout. The way it happened for World Cup qualifiers. So the question now is that the Nigerian team under Eric Chile, they made progress. They've done well. Will this progress be sustained? After all this finger pointing, after all these accusations and say you didn't do well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, will they sustain this squad? Because it's a good squad. Will they sustain this coaching team? Because it's a good coaching team. Will they be able to maintain it? That's the bigger question that we'll have to ask. There is nothing like, just play for the country. Other countries are investing in their players. They're investing in making sure the football is developed in their country. Morocco is investing. The Middle East, Qatar invested and they hosted a World Cup. Saudi Arabia in the future, he has won hosting rights to host World Cup. These countries are investing in the game and they are getting the results. Look at players like Cristiano Ronaldo playing in Saudi Arabia, which is something that would have been unheard of years back. People are investing and they are getting the results. How much investment is Nigeria making? Why do we expect that it's just only the players that need to make the sacrifice? What about the government? What about the football authorities? What about the sports commission? What about that? How well are we taking care of Nigerian players that have retired from the Super Eagles, retired from playing? How well are they being taken care of? What kind of help and assistance is being offered to them? To those who are sick, to those who can't afford to take care of their basic needs. It's sad when you check Nigerian history and check how legends of the sports have been abandoned when they get injured. Even before they retire from international football, when they get injured, they are abandoned. They are injured playing for Nigeria. And the Nigerian government failed to take care of them. And because we have sporting authorities, we have people who have been in the arena of sporting authority for decades, and we have this bureaucracy and this meshwork of lack of transparency, lack of accountability, and corruption. So how will all these things, how will they be sorted out? It cannot just be blamed only on the egos. When you invest in something, look at clubs. The clubs football in like in the UK, in Europe, is being led by private clubs. Real Madrid, Barcelona, the Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, La Liga, goals. You have people bringing in money, investing in the game and developing the game in the country. And these clubs have youth wing, youth camps where they develop young talents and help to bring up future great players of the game for England, for Italy, and for other countries. When are we going to get there? When are we going to ask the hard questions and see how that can happen here? Why do we have to always blame the easy target? The egos are easy to blame. They are vulnerable to attacks. Look at the level of attack level on the semen, because of the altercation he had with some of the players. So when are we going to ask the government the hard questions and the sporting authorities the hard questions, and not just heap all the blame on the egos and expect them to play out of patriotism, when no other sector, no other people are doing it out of patriotism? Yes, the Eagles, if an Eagles player comes to play for Nigeria, it increases their chance. Let's say a player is not doing well in his club. If he comes and do well in the international team, he can get noticed and he can get a better club, So there is some advantage to the players, especially those that are not doing well in their clubs. When they play international tournaments and they do well, they have that opportunity. There is that advantage that is there, yes. But do we always have to rely on foreign players who play in international foreign clubs? What about the local league? How will we encourage players playing in the local league instead of raising and bringing talents? People that play for England, they grow up in their local league and they end up playing for England. In Spain, they grow up in their local league and end up playing for Spain. They don't need to leave Spain for them to play for Spain. Why can't we have a system in Nigeria where the local players are developed and they do so well and they play for Nigeria and they are paid well? Because we are just looking at it from the angle of foreign players in foreign clubs. What about local players who are not being paid in dollars? Who, when they represent Nigeria, will be paid how well would they be paid? If we say all players should come and pay for patriotism because they are playing for foreign clubs, what about players who play in the local league? Are we still going to ask them to be patriotic? How much are they being paid in the local league? And they now come to play for Nigeria and give their heart for Nigeria, heart and soul and their body, with the risk of injury and all of that. And you now tell them that it's out of patriotism. It's patriotism they will use, as somebody said, it's patriotism that you used to go to the market to buy food. It's patriotism that you used to pay school fees and take care of the children. It's patriotism that you used to take care of the family. When you become a star, you become breadwinner of an extended family. Is it patriotism that you used to pay them? When people talk about patriotism, is it not, as I've said in one of the videos I made, patriotism is a product of how well your country treats you. American treats its citizens well, so well that if an American citizen is in distress in another country, you can send SEAL team, Delta Force, and they are this to go and rescue an American citizen. American citizen is so valued and so well catered for by the US government. And in response, the citizens become patriotic in appreciation of what the country has done for them and what the country could do for them, the value they have in the eyes of this country. That's what brings about patriotism. But now here in Nigeria, Nigerian government will not do well. Nigeria will not take care of its citizens. People are dying. There's insecurity. There's so much problem. Nigeria will not do well. And then you now say be patriotic. Patriotic just to be patriotic, but not because you are appreciating what the government has done for you. Just be grateful to wear the jersey. Just be grateful that you are playing for Nigeria. Just count yourself blessed. And so while politicians are collecting money, when they go to New York for world organizations and all that, when they collect dollars for going, but the Eagles that will come and play for Nigeria should not be paid because they are doing patriotism. So I don't agree with the comments that are made by Bovi after the Eagles lost. I don't agree. Yes, you can call out some of the players they can do better. You can call out some of the things they didn't do well. The team is growing, they're improving. But to now hang it on not being patriotic enough, not appreciating the jersey, not appreciating the fact that they're uniting Nigeria, to hang it on that is not fair. It's not fair to hang that on the young players and say whereas the politicians have failed, whereas the political class and other leaders have failed, these young players who are just trying to make a way for themselves now have the responsibility to unite Nigeria. And so when they make mistake, oh, you can't make mistake, you are representing Nigeria. Nigeria need to be united. And so the responsibility is on them. That is not fair. The responsibility should be on all, especially to those who are leading, to ensure that Nigeria do well for Nigerians, home and abroad. The Nigerians will be proud of what the government or the country has done for them, and then in return, they will show patriotism and do their utmost wherever they represent Nigeria. That's how it goes. Patriotism, it goes both ways. It's a two-way street. It's not a one-way street. And what whatever profession you are, you make demands so that the government will listen to you. It's not fair for you to now come around and say, you that make demands of government to do better for you, but you don't want the Eagles to be well treated. You just want them to be patriotic. Let's introspect. Let's think about ourselves, what we would want for ourselves, and not just blame everything on the Eagles. The Eagles have done well in this tournament. They are improving. If the government keeps them together, keeps the Eagles together, keeps the coach in place, if the government can do that, they will do better in the future. But the government can't do that. If the government can ensure continuity of this team and this coaching team, then we are going to be back to square one. We'll do this drama again. We'll look for new coaches, and then we start afresh and expect that miracles can happen where we did not invest as much. We saw little in the game in Nigeria, and we expect a lot. We expect miracles to happen. Other people are investing in it, and they are reaping the reward. If we too want the game to do so well as it is in other countries, then we should also do the needful investments and not just blame football players when they make mistakes and when they don't do as well as we expect them to.